Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as financial advice. So it's been a while since I've done an altcoin extravaganza video. I do weekly videos for the Gambit group, but let's do one for the Gen Pop here. If you're interested in joining Gambit, it's a Telegram group. Contact Colin Crypto. I'll put his details in the description below. So I'll have the market cap table on a separate screen. This is BNC's cap table. Use whatever one you want, I don't care. I use theirs because I work for them. One thing that I actually do like about fund strats analysis is that they define alt season as percentage or number of alts above 200% in gains in the past 3 months, 90 days. So based on that metric, you can see that both USD and BTC pairs, there aren't really any alts above 200%. Except for Mobilgo on the USD pair, but I'm going to exclude that from the case study here. So, are we in alt season currently? No. Whether or not you want to be buying based on that is certainly up to you. I think there are better and worse alts to buy at the moment. I'll go through like the top 15 or something that I have up here. Something to consider strongly is what is Coinbase listing and what haven't they listed yet that they said they will. So Cardano, Stellar, Zeke have not been listed yet. You have to think it's likely that they will list something. They will list these between now and January 1st. I think it'll all be in Q4. I think they're probably going to announce the next one in November 27th, which is Consensus Invest. It gives them like a PR boost when they're in New York with everybody. This is a pointless reason to buy anything other than for speculation. Let me just be clear. But based on the reaction of the other coins, I think it's fair to just assume that we'll see positive moves based on those announcements. Not only on the Coinbase Pro listing announcement, but also the general Coinbase listing. Things have been moving. So let's take a look at some charts. Let's go bird's eye view, altcoin market cap total. So this is everything except Bitcoin. And what I was watching for the past month or so was this inverted head and shoulders, more diamond bottom-y type structure that was forming, along with the potential of an edge-to-edge situation. Now you can't really trade this anywhere, I don't think, but it helps me guide like where the general market is. Are we full-blown bullish? No. Are we bullish reversally? Yeah, based on this, it looks like we broke north of the diamond bottom, as you'd expect when you form a diamond bottom. It's generally a reversal signal. Great. So where are we headed on the mcap table, or on the mcap market cap, whatever you want to call that? Where are we headed? We're headed up here. You know, the numbers don't matter to me. Where we are in this move matters to me. So there's plenty of upside here, plenty of reasons to punt on stuff if you want, mid cap, low cap, whatever. I know there are plenty of people who are already doing so. So, you know, don't take my word for it, but it's happening, folks. It's happening. It's out there and it's happening. There's definitely select moves and select alts, but anyway, let's go through this. Another chart I like to look at as far as the barometer of alts is DOGE. This is on the weekly. I only look at DOGE on the weekly. Typically, it has pumped to 100 sats and down every 242 days is the average, excluding 483 days. So I'm just measuring the distance from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. So based on this, it isn't exactly alt season either. You know, it's middling at best. So it's just another thing to look at when you're trying to figure out what's what with the alts, at least in my mind. Doge kind of, so as goes Doge, so goes the market. That's just generally how I feel. So you can see it's a little early to start buying Doge. It likes to live at around 20 to 30 sats somewhere as far as the bottom is concerned. Holding for anything above 100 based on past price history is just silly to me. But, you know, you do you as far as that's concerned. So in general, this doesn't look alt season-y, you know. That's just what I'm trying to get at, TLDR there. So I think Stellar above all charts looks the most bullish, and I'll compare this to XRP, the fractal there that we had pre-$3 breakout. But this is a 11 month at this point, pennant or equilateral triangle, whatever you want to call it. I consider a bullish consolidation. Today it looks like it's broken up from the diag. That it's a pretty clean diag. We've had 3 or 4 really strong touches, maybe even 5. I don't look at volume on Polo because in general volume on Polo is down no matter what. So this isn't going to look like a classic breakout volume wise, I don't think anywhere. But when I measure targets for this, I get at least $1-ish. I mean, $1.40 is high on the high side for the move, but comparing this to XRP, which I will in a minute, it might not even matter. And then as far as the bottom of the triangle, I'm measuring from the break of the previous high. So low, high, this is what we get. I don't even care what the cloud looks like. I don't care what anything looks like. This should be trendless. It's been essentially sideways. There's even a mini like inverted head and shoulders in here that's trying to break up from. This might just go to 0 tomorrow. I don't know. But based on the chart, it looks good for up more so than anything else. If we look at Zeke, there's only one line that matters to me, and it's Zeke BTC, the 200 daily moving average. It hasn't ever basically been above that number, and it isn't now. It won't be interesting to me until it is, just based on technicals. There's a decent play, like many of these alts, you'll see like a W or some weird thing, above 0.02 and then to the 200. That's probably a nice trade, but I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to stay out. I don't think there's really any reason to be in Zeke until it starts to show signs of life. Again, the only reason to be in it now, I think, would be for a spec play on the Coinbase listings, but there's better charts, in my opinion, to look at, to have your money in. If you have 10 grand, where are you going to put that money? How are you going to allocate it? You have to decide, this looks better than this. Okay, ETC, which I'm going to show later, looks like a dumpster fire. Probably avoid that one versus Stellar. It doesn't have to be the names of the coins, just the charts that I'm paying attention to here that show me what's bull, what's not, what's consolidating, what's likely to break up. So here's Ripple again. This is the 2-day Bitstamp. And much like looking at Stellar on Polo, looking at Ripple on Bitstamp, because it has this data history, a lot of people weren't looking at this, and the Ripple BTC chart looked a lot different at the time. But you can see, just like Stellar, we had this, it wasn't 11 months, but it was 7 months, something like that, 5 months, whatever. And again, measuring the same thing, you got 55 cents. So it had this massive exaggerated upside. Obviously, this was at like peak mania. So it was a special situation. But Stellar's around the same time period, this October, November, December, January zone. I don't know. Again, I'm just comparing this stuff. I don't want to sound redonkulous about any of it, but it looks good. All right, so that's those fractals. Ripple, in a full-fledged bull run, I expect it to return to $1.76. It's in this edge-to-edge thing, like many of these coins are on higher time frames, but I don't think there's any compelling reason on the short term to get into Ripple here. I don't really see any chart patterns or anything. It's certainly had lots of bullish upside relative to everything else already. So again, if you're deciding like, what do I want to sit in for X amount of time versus what looks like it's in pre-breakout stages or near breakout stages, stuff like that. You can see it had an Adam Eve bottom down here. So the real primo entry would have been breaking this horizontal. And I can say that in hindsight, obviously, but that's, it makes sense that it had this upside based on that. It makes sense that it pulled back from the cloud. If you believe in cloud, resistance is a thing. So it's finally broken above that. It looks good for further upside, just not exactly right now. Bitcoin Cash, I'm not going to pretend to know or care to know what's going on with this fork business, but much like Monero, which I'll show later, it had this weird like squeezing down, falling wedge, sideways consolidation that kind of pooped out and didn't go anywhere. Formed this Adam Eve loosely situation, Adam Eve. Basically, you want a V and a U. We can debate whether that's legitimate or not, but all this upside is just based on nonsense fundamental stuff. I don't think it's anything other than that, really. I mean, technically, based on technicals, it certainly hit a local low, again, double bottomed, whatever. I'm not like bullish on this long term, but near term 650, probably max upside, and then bull run potential 1172 if it doesn't explode before then. And then like max bull run potential 2266. That's just a 50% of the high to low, and you'll see that on most of these charts. Not rocket science. I don't spend a lot of time figuring out like what's the exact target going to be, when, blah blah blah. Don't care. 50% high to low. Moving on. EOS. I like that there's consolidation and it's moving to the upside, much like the altcoin market cap chart. There was months and months and months of stuff happening nowhere, and then all of a sudden we're breaking north instead of south. It's also breaking into the cloud. The 200's around 682, so near term I like 682 as a target. Longer term 50% of previous high to low, 13.5. That's like months away probably, because we need cloud to flip and blah 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 blah. But there's a near-term trade that can be had here, certainly. So if I'm comparing like bullishness versus breakoutishness, Stellar looks good, EOS looks good, Bitcoin Cash looks like you missed the boat, if you're not in around like 450, 500. I don't know, that's just what I'm looking at. EOS BTC, just to like reiterate this, many of these charts look the same on the BTC pairs currently, so I didn't really show all of them. But this is the 2-day EOS BTC, and you can see it's kind of been grinding on this support. And the cloud likes 0015. We're talking full-fledged bull run here, but there's edge-to-edge vacuum flat Kumo business possibilities here with a TK bull cross soon, which tells anybody who's short, be careful. Probability of reversal gets higher at that point. So that's just fuel to the fire that we're good for up with EOS. LTC has one of my favorite types of clouds, because I want like a no doubter trend and then see some sort of reversal. So you can tell we're not there yet. We're still below the cloud, blah blah blah. Another thing to notice is these bearish TK crosses below the cloud, very prophetic as far as where price went and when. Each time price reacted. And that's what you want to see. I want to see that the indicator on my time frame, on my settings, is working. So I'm glad that it shows that. So that brings us to now, what are we looking at? 71. And again, edge-to-edge situation, not a full-fledged bull. I didn't have the 50% on here, but it's probably around 160, something like that. You can see that it's got this messy diamond bottom that it may or may not have broken up from. Who knows? Again, this is a reversal with a high probability, not necessarily a bull trend type trade. Cardano, sort of similar, kind of more messy. Again, we had bearish TK crosses, we had Kijun bounces, like perfectly. All this stuff makes sense to me. What we're seeing now is a potential bullish TK cross, which will happen almost guaranteed in the next day or two. It has a really nice fat cloud, so the edge to edge looks better here as far as risk reward is concerned, based on everything else we've seen so far in the edge to edge realm. I think the safest entrance of a long would be whatever this level is, 1300 sats. It's also cloud resistance, so that makes sense. And this setup's kind of very similar to Zeke if you were to zoom in on what that looks like. It had this V, delayed U, and now it's trying to figure out what it wants to do. So I can certainly reverse from here, which is why I like the long entry from 1300 to like 1800 as far as the trade is concerned. And you can see this matches previous support, breaks it, resistance, retest, blah 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 blah. Monero, super cool structure as far as this like sigh of doom, this like falling wedge situation. You can see it bounced on support, previous support, no surprise. This has the most bullish looking cloud out of any of the alts, because there is no cloud here, which says anything could happen as far as reversal very easily. And it's got a long time period here. basically the whole month of November into December at this point. So this looks good to me for a trend reversal. Certainly not there yet, but very close, razor thin to being a definite trend reversal. And in general, the XMR chart's always going to be a mess, so I think you have to really zoom out and look at the forest and not the bark on the trees, because I think there's a lot of churn in XMR, people going in and out of it all the time. And I think that inherently causes the chart to look much different than most clean charts do. That's just an aside, but anyway, it looks good. And then maximum, like medium term bull trendy stuff, 275. Tron, this piece of garbage. Fundamentally, it is top 5 dumpster fires of all time. But if you're trading the chart alone, again, no doubt about it. You know, when you hit a home run, you want to make sure it goes over the fence, right? You don't want to hit the fence. And that's what I'm seeing with this bear trend, just obviously obliterated down to 260 sats or something like that. And much like Monero, this looks more bullish than most things. I think the nail in the coffin for the bull trend to take off would be a bullish TK cross. Everything else is there. It's above the cloud. Cloud is bullish. Lagging span will eventually be above price and cloud, so that'll be like the third and fourth check for the cloud list. So TK cross bullish, lagging span above price, above cloud. That's always going to be your safest entry. And to see this, again, I just love to see that on a reversal, because it says trend was definitely bearish and it flattened out. Maybe there's some Wyckoff structure in here. I'm not really good at that, just eyeballing it. But bottom line, this looks good for reversal. Full-blown bull trend, 640 sats, previous support turned resistance zone area thing-esque-ish. Binance Coin, VMB. I don't know enough about the fundamentals here to really understand. Like, I wouldn't trade this actively myself, but you can see it kind of had this mini downtrend and just went sideways for a while. It's got kind of a floor around 14.5. To me, this doesn't look compelling like Tron does, like Monero does, like even ADA and Zeke do as far as their Adam Eve, bottomy potential. So I would avoid this one compared to those, but that's just me. Neo, again, doesn't look as good as some of the other stuff. It's certainly had a massive downtrend, and you can see that it's sort of earlier on in its cycle when you like compare this to Tron. How Tron's had a longer period of sideways nothingness to turn the cloud. So if you don't pay attention to the ticker and you're just looking at like where we're at in these phases, you can see like Tron is the most bullish, then XMR, then like EOS, you know, because it's starting to hit this edge to edge, and then this is definitely like early bullish reversal. And it may be that as we're getting like into the lower cap stuff, like that's just a natural occurrence of that. The mid caps probably would lead the reversals versus the low caps. Certainly not the case everywhere. ETC probably looks the most bearish to me, just because this isn't a perfect invert or head and shoulders reversal. But for weeks and weeks and weeks, I was talking about it like it was, and just saying in my videos that it doesn't look good. It's certainly below cloud. It looks a lot different than everything else, and I hope you can just realize that. Maybe it's a great buy here, I don't know. Maybe it'll just go to 50 one day again, but just in general, it doesn't look great trend-wise compared to everything else. Like, it looks like it has some downside left in it. 0x, honestly, at this point, I don't know what 0x is going to be used for. I don't think the 0x team knows what it's going to be used for. I think the chart exemplifies that. It's just in the middle of the road, post Coinbase announcement, lethargic. I wouldn't touch it until it's above the cloud. So it's definitely got some time. Compared to everything else, again, like you've got 10 grand, you put in XMR, and you put it in Tron, you put it in 0x. Based on technicals alone, I wouldn't touch 0x compared to the other coins I've talked about, just because it's middling nowhere and it's on the tail end of its announcements. Like, I can see people rotating into the stuff that hasn't been announced on Coinbase yet, to get ahead of that spec play stuff. Like BAT, this looks like a coin based on the cloud that you'd want to enter. You don't want to enter 0x here because it's not above the cloud. If you're just sticking to rules. And even with BAT, you're waiting for the cloud to flip. And all these cloud charts have pretty much been on the daily doubled. I like that it's a little slower. Again, it's no doubt about it sort of reversals. And both BAT and ZRX have fundamental problems with the number of coins that are in circulation and all sorts of stuff. I think BAT at least has some use compared to ZRX at the moment. Maker, not much gets talked about with Maker, but I like Maker DAI. I like that setup on ETH. I think it's going to get picked up a lot of places that are ETH centric, like Augur. It's got this weird, like, low volume, nobody actually trades it on Bitfinex, ascending triangle with a bullish cloud. Take it a grain of salt. But it looks okay compared to, like, most of the other stuff that we looked at. I don't know what 967 would mean for the market cap. But, yeah, anyway, that's just Maker. And then lastly, Dash, just because I like to follow the masternode coins a little bit in the back of my head. So 62% at least of Dash's circulating supply is locked up in masternodes currently. And again, it's this no doubt about it downtrend, bearish TK crosses, Kijun bounces, cloud bounces, whatever. Starting to flatten out. It's still in this pitchfork as well. So it's working on reversal. Anything above 220 would certainly be a trend reversal. But like I keep saying, does this look bullish enough to take a punt on or put some money in? I don't know, it's up to you. I know they have an update coming. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter, and happy trading.